Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we are in a situation where we need to be determining our three-way junction rotations, because I think that they are actually working quasi-properly. So yeah, like this one for example both of these need to be rotated 180, and then that would be completely correct. Let's actually just go in there and do it manually for these so that we can actually see what's going on here. So 180 degrees here, as well as 180 degrees here. And you can tell our normals are different for some of these. We'll go through and redo our normals so that they match up a little bit better. I think that's like 95% of the issue here, is that the normals just aren't matching up perfectly. There might also be a few floating point issues. So if we then look at this, you can see, look at that. Is that not gorgeous? It was a lot of work. And it's not done yet. So that is the overall goal right there. And it's doing it almost perfectly. We just need to get our rotations figured out for these three types of intersections right here. So for Y intersections, how are we going to determine what way we need to go? Well, that's a good question. Let's go ahead and think about this with some visual aids. So the subhexes here can go ahead and be hidden, and then our sub-subhexes we'll take a quick look at. And while we're here, let's get our Y junction out. Here it is. Okay, so we actually only need to know one direction, right? We only need to know one tile. So if... yeah, that's accurate. So we can do something very similar to what we did up here. And we can say, and I'm going to go ahead and split my screen here so that we can actually properly really see what's going on here. So in our Y junction here, and the Solution Explorer can go away because it's taking up a whole lot of screen there. In our Y junction here, we can say if approximately equal, and let's go ahead and get some shortcuts here. So vector 3, our position equals subhexes I dot transform dot position. And then vector 3 other position equals, and we're going to go with unconnected hexes 0 dot transform dot position. Okay, those are just shortcuts for us. So if we are approximately equal between our position dot x and other position dot x, there we go. So if that is true, then we need to determine if we are up or down. So if... I'm just thinking here, this is exactly the same as we did up here. Like, literally exactly the same as this for the road intersection 5-way. Do I want to make this into a function? Could do. Could certainly do. Alternately, we could just copy and paste. And I think that's going to be what I'm going to do. For right now, anyway. If we need it again, we can always, at that point, make it into a function. So, if approximately equal, so let's go ahead and place it right here. And rather than using unconnected position, we're going to use other position. And let's just double check that these are all going to be correctly laid out. So if our x position is the same, if we're here or here, then we need to determine if we're going up or going down. If we are going down, vector 3.0, which is correct. Otherwise, 180, which is correct. Else, if other position.x is less than, so if we're over here or here, if z is less than 60 degrees, which is correct. Else 120 degrees, And actually it doesn't need to be 120 degrees because this thing is symmetrical in that way with the radial symmetry. So 120 degrees is the same as 0 degrees, but this is all perfect right here. So the Y intersection should now be set up correctly. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this back to full screen. Same with this, so that we can actually see this is not full screen. There we go. Also, Stellaris, I love the music. Maybe a bit loud. There we go. Turned it down ever so slightly. Oh, we have a compiler error. Let's... Oh, I just didn't save. That would help. Inspector's also maybe a bit on the big side from splitting the screen there. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink that down slightly. Okay. So let's see what we've got here. No reference exceptions because I did not turn subhexes back on. Now subhexes are back on. Excellent. Okay, so this should be Y junctions working correctly. We have a map intersection here. Also, this junction is not rotated, but I think we didn't rotate those yet. Right? Yeah, we didn't rotate those yet. I don't know what I'm even thinking. Okay, so we need to find ourselves a Y junction. Here's one. It's wrong. Okay, let's take a quick look at that Y junction. So, where are we here? Intersection Y. So, why did this output at 180 degrees? Let's see. If approximately equal, other position.x are position.x. Floating point error. Let's tack on 0.00005f. Okay. Let's make that approximately equal just that much more accurate. And now let's regenerate that and see if that still works. There's a Y junction. It's incorrect. Okay, so that's not the problem. I just didn't look at it enough. So this is 180 degrees. So it turned out that we were approximately equal, so it must have been looking at this hex. And then other position.z is less than our position.z. It should have returned vector 3.0. Unless I did something very wrong here. What could I have done wrong here? I mean, I copied it in. Other position, our position, subhexes i.transform.position, unconnected hexes 0.transform.position. We do only need to know the one direction, because it is radially symmetrical. So, if approximately equal, other position.x are position.x. So the question then becomes, which one is unconnected hexes 0? That'll be the first one in the neighbors list. Which one is this guy? Map hex 5? Okay. Map hex 5 is element 4. Interesting. That should probably not be the case. This one is map hex 71. This one is 14. So it's actually going to be looking at map hex 14 as 0. So it's looking at this and saying that the x is approximately equal unless it's got a 180 down here. It doesn't. So it's seeing this x position as being approximately equal to this x position? Is that what's happening? Let's go ahead and run a debug. And we'll say our position.x plus our position.x plus I'll use other position.x plus other position.x. I'm a bit confused on that. Also, I would like to output plus other hex, or rather, other hex, plus unconnected hexes 0 dot transform, or actually dot gameObject.name, dot gameObject.name. And then over here, let's go ahead and toss in subhexes I dot gameObject.name plus. Okay. So now that should output some useful errors, theoretically, to let us know what exactly is going on here. Because that should work. Okay. Map hex 45. Here we go. So where's map hex 45? That's this guy right here. So this is map hex 45. It's looking at map hex 54 as the other. Oh, that's weird. Right, because this is unconnected hexes. What am I thinking? Oh boy, that was a pebcac error right there. So we need to flip these. This rotation needs to be 180 degrees. This rotation needs to be 0. And then for these, we might need to flip these as well. But let's run this and find out. So with those flipped, I think we're fine. Maybe. Let's see what we're at for... Yeah, for this Y junction here. But this is an unconnected hex up here. Okay, this is a connected hex here, unconnected here. So as you can see, it flipped it. And then, let's see, where is a Y junction where they're like coming out here? Yeah, I think we can safely say it's working. At least for now. If we run across any issues, we can fix it later. And now that I think about it, for the Y junction, we basically just have these two positions right here. I mean, we basically just have 0 and 180. So I kind of feel like we don't need all of this. Like so. And then we can say... Yeah, I mean, it's basically always... I'm going to leave it the way it was. This is going to break things if I remove it, and I don't feel like fixing it because I'm too lazy. Okay, so for bendy junctions, we now need to figure out our rotation. So as far as bendy junctions go, let's go ahead and hide our subhexes again and figure out how we're going to rotate our bendy junctions. Let's go ahead and get a bendy junction prefab out, which is this one. Okay, so we know that we have 3 unconnected hexes that are all right next to each other, and 3 connected hexes that are all right next to each other as well. So our first unconnected hex, well... I think what we need to do is we need to figure out which one is the bend, and then just do the bend rotation, realistically. So, for now, let's say something along the lines of vector 3 bend pose A, vector 3 bend pose B, and then we'll do rot equals get corner rotation subhexes I dot transform dot position bend pose A, bend pose B. Now we haven't assigned bend pose A or B yet. So what we need to do now is we need to get our 2 positions that are furthest apart from each other in our connected neighbors. Not our unconnected neighbors, our connected neighbors. So let's go ahead and figure out how exactly we want to do that. So we can't necessarily assume that position 0 is going to be that. So let's say for int I equals 0, I is less than unconnected, or rather, is less than connected neighbors dot count I++. So we're going to iterate through our connected neighbors list, and then we're going to say, we're going to iterate through again, and we're going to say, actually we can't use I here. J equals 0, J is less than connected neighbors dot count, J++, and then we're going to say for int K equals 0, K is less than connected neighbors dot count, K++, if connected neighbors J, if I can get the correct square bracket, there we go, equals connected neighbors K, continue. So we don't want to consider it if it's the same thing. And then we just want to say if, and let's go ahead and say if, let's have a second parentheses here. We need to calculate the distance between the two we're considering. So if connected neighbors J dot, actually, yeah, here is fine, dot transform dot position is, and then subtract connected neighbors K dot transform dot position dot square magnitude is less than, and actually I typoed this, thanks compiler, there we go, is less than, and this needs to be, actually is greater than 0.0004f. So is greater than, and I'm going to actually do 5f. So if this is the case, after I get my correct curly braces, then we need to say bend pose A equals connected neighbors J dot transform dot position. Bend pose B equals connected neighbors K dot transform dot position. And then break. Now this is going to break out of this loop. And I forget how you break out of two loops. Can we just break? But I think that'll be unreachable code. Yes. That will be unreachable code indeed. So I guess at this point we can just come down here and say if bend pose A is not equal to, I mean, I guess we could say vector3 dot 0 break. Oh, because it's unassigned. Yeah, equals vector3 dot 0. We're going to assume that it's 0 to start with. Okay. So that'll get us our two bend positions, theoretically. I'm actually going to bump this up to 006f. There we go. Okay. So bendy junctions, I think, should be working now. We'll find out. I'm going to go ahead and delete this bendy junction. Turn on our subhexes again. And let's just see. Let's see, do we have a bendy junction here? We don't. Do we have a bendy junction here? Nope. How about here? Nope. They're kind of rare. So it's going to be kind of hard to find one. It's just a regular corner. Come on, bendy junction. Where are you? I know you're around somewhere. You don't seem to be around somewhere. Okay. Where are you, bendy junction? No bendy junction here. Like I said, they're kind of rare. Well, I mean... Should that not be a bendy junction? No. Straight, and then a junction there. I was wrong. That should not be a bendy junction. Okay, let's try a different tile. Let's see. No bendy junction there. Nor there. Nor there. Should this be a bendy junction? Let's see. No, that's not a bendy junction. Well, I think for right now, maybe we should just assume that the bendy junction is working. And then if we run into... Oh, there's a bendy junction, and it is indeed working. Excellent. Okay. So with the bendy junction confirmed working, at least at that angle, I think we should move on. There's another one, and it's working. Okay. Bendy junctions appear to be working. Fantastic. So now let's figure out how to do our straight junctions. Because those are, I think, the only one left. And they're also one of the most common. So let's go ahead and get our regular junction out here. There we go. So, how are we going to decide how to rotate this? Well, we know how to rotate it partially. Because we know that we can grab our two furthest the way we grabbed our two furthest up here, and then rotate it as if it's a straight. But that won't necessarily be correct because of this guy here. So, for example, here and here, this would be great. But what if we're going this direction instead? Like, realistically, we need to be rotated... Oof. Does this actually not work? Hang on. Would that be... It actually doesn't work to just rotate it. We need one on the other side. That's a little exciting. Hypothetically, we could mirror it, theoretically, by running it like that. -1 scale, and then rotating it like that. 60 degrees. So that would work. That would mirror it there. And then have that be back to there. So 60, 120, 180, 240, 360, actually 300. Yeah, this is going to be a little more complicated than I thought, looking at this. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and we'll dive into this full on in the next episode, because we're basically at the end, and this is going to be a bit more of a complicated one, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we will get our final road junctions set up. See you all then.